welcome back to the podcast. I am so excited for today because this usually when I have guests, I'm just going to be honest with you guys. I know a lot about their topics. I know a lot about what they train on. And so I'm asking questions based on like things I already know. But today's going to be interesting because by far out of most of the platforms I engage on a regular basis, Instagram is the one I am least qualified to talk on. I do a little something over there in Instagram land, but I am by no means an expert. So today I'm excited because we have my new friend, Mishelle Thorpe, in the house, and she is an Instagram expert and an Instagram coach. So we are going to dive in and talk all about Instagram and how you can use it for your business. Let's go ahead and invite Mishelle onto the podcast. Hi.
Hey, how are you? Thank you so much for having me. I'm thrilled to talk Instagram with you today.
I'm happy to have you because look, she doesn't even know how bad I am at Instagram. If she goes to Instagram, she'll see we're rough over there. We surviving, but we are not thriving in Instagram land.
That's okay. That's okay. I'm here to help.
Yes, I'm so excited because people, I feel like they don't even realize that experts like you exist. People
Yeah.
think that they just need a social media manager, but oftentimes they need a coach that specializes in one platform who's an expert that can give them actual strategies there. Because when you get somebody who just manages your social media, you tell them what to do and they do it. But if you don't know, then.
Absolutely. I have this conversation with people all the time. All the time.
Yeah, so before we dive too far into the topic at hand, I just want to give you an opportunity to reintroduce yourself to our listeners and let them know a little bit more about who you are and what it is to be an Instagram coach.
Absolutely. The entrepreneurial bug bit me super early. I started my first business when I was 8 years old. 8 years old. And back then in the mid to late 80s, you advertised your business, your RV for sale, your kittens that you had, anything you had going on in your life, you advertised that in the nickel ads. It was this little publication that you could put an ad in and magic happened. Except for my magic didn't happen because I didn't get a single client for that first business, but it didn't matter because I knew in my heart that running my own business, being my own boss was something that I loved to do at 8 years old. I had a bunch of really small businesses growing up and into my 20s, but nothing that really had staying power that could maybe support me full time, replace, a real job income. And in my mid 30s, I was working for a major company that everybody in at least North America has heard of. And I was sitting there with this dream job, with this dream paycheck. And I remember sitting there thinking, how did I get here? I am so miserable. How the hell do I get out of here? Oh my gosh, I had on paper the perfect everything career-wise, and I wanted none of it. I knew in my heart that it didn't resonate with me. It wasn't aligned with who I was. And right around that time, it was not a coincidence because nothing ever is. I had the opportunity to start a coaching practice. Of course, it was kind of a side hustle at that time. I had just started it, so I was still working my full-time job. But I thought, this is it. This is the thing that could replace a full-time income. This could be what I do for the rest of my life. It was 2017, and of course, social media was where you were supposed to be if you had a business. And everyone told me, you need to get on Instagram. And I was like, yes, okay, I'm here. I am ready to go. Let's do this. But I didn't have an Instagram account. I didn't know how to use Instagram for business, but I did have an account for my bunny. Yes, I had a really, really cute bunny. I put him on Instagram, but I was just posting photos and saying, look at my cute bunny. So when it came time for me to show up as a business on Instagram, I made a really bad decision. I decided that Pancakes the Bunny had 150 followers, which I just thought was gold, right? I mean, who has more than that? That was just amazing, 150. I decided to just change the name on his account and show up as my business. I decided to change the name, and then the very next post after a cute picture of him sleeping was me advertising my coaching business. Yes. I left all the bunny pictures up and basically was like, hey, bunny owners, Pancakes is cute. Pancakes is still here. He's rocking it out, but I'm a coach now. Who wants to hire me? And I sat back and I waited for the credit cards to roll in. Cori, how many credit cards do you think rolled in?
Zero.
Zero credit cards rolled in because nobody was interested in my business. Nobody was as excited about what I was offering as I was. And that was the first lesson that I had to learn, that all my clients also have to learn, that I couldn't just show up on Instagram asking for the sale and expecting the sale. So again, at a crossroads, I had to either figure it the heck out, or I had to quit and go back to that corporate life that just left me so unfulfilled. So obviously I figured it out because now I'm doing this full time. I got really good at growing that coaching practice online. It was fulfilling. I was making sales on Instagram. Over 90% of my clients come from Instagram. But I was noticing that all these other women were making the same mistakes as I was. And I thought, this is where my heart lies. I want to help other women elevate their business. I want to help elevate other women into entrepreneurship and stay there, so that we're making up a bigger proportion of the entrepreneurs and we are rocking it because we have a message to share and we need to connect to the people that need us most. That's how I ended up where I was. I did not go to Instagram school because there isn't one, but now I help women do this full time.
I love that. I'm glad you told that story because I feel like you called a few of us out. I was thinking to myself, like, I think I definitely took my personal Instagram with me in the selfies, doing just whatever, and made that my business profile and just kept on going. Like you said, one day, hey, I'm this coach.
Hey!
I do this. And now we know better. That's
Now
the
we know
first word.
better.
Now we know better. But I love that you talked too about how you transitioned, because not everybody does what I call cold turkey in their 9 to 5, where you just wake up one day with a calling and you quit your job and then you start this business. A lot of you transition, and I actually think that's the smarter choice. I wish I could have transitioned. I kind of was forced out of my 9 to 5, and then I started a business kind of out of necessity. But I love the idea of kind of coming in, having some income coming in, and then transitioning into your full-time calling, if that's a coach or a consultant or what have you. So let's talk Instagram. Since you didn't go to Instagram Academy, but you learned in the streets of Instagram how to do this thing. Let's talk, because one of the biggest questions I get a lot of time is, at the top of your Instagram, you can have like your name or your business name. You can have like a link in bio. Now there's like a button. People are always like, how do I maximize that little bit of space? So how can we kind of maybe, like, what should or shouldn't we be doing in that little part that kind of introduces us to Instagram world?
Absolutely. This is one of the biggest mistakes that folks make, because we think this is my business. This is my profile for my business. So I'm going to talk about me in that real estate. I'm going to put my title. I'm going to put my qualifications. I'm going to talk about myself. Maybe I'll mention that I love tacos, or, that I have kids or whatever, as a way to try and relate to people. But that's the biggest mistake that you can make. It is your profile. The pictures that you share, the few that you share, we'll talk about that here in a minute, they're going to be of you. It's going to be in your voice. Your name is on the account, but your Instagram account isn't actually about you. It's about the person that you serve. So you need to use that top real estate of your profile to call that person out, to define who they are. So when they see it, they think, that's me. I need to follow this person. But you also need to talk about the transformations that you help people achieve. The reason that somebody needs to follow you. Because here's the deal. We have so many friends, real and virtual. No one is interested in following some rando just because they like tacos and have kids too. No one's following me because they adopted a bunny, right? I mean, that's just not happening anymore. It did happen back in the day. This is 2023. It's not happening anymore. So call out that person that you are uniquely qualified to serve specifically, right? Get nitty gritty. If you haven't done that work, do that before you jump on social media of any platform. And the transformation that you help provide, whatever that is, and what that means to that person. So when they see your account, they think, that's my person. I can't wait to connect with Cori. I already know that she gets me from the 150 characters in her bio. I know it. I'm a Cori fan for life. That's what we want people to think. That's the emotion that we want to invoke every time a new person comes to our profile.
Oh wow! Look, I'm trying my hardest not to grab my phone as I sit here to look at my Instagram. Like, what does it say? Because I can't. It probably says a lot about me. So we'll change that, guys. Don't feel bad. We're gonna learn a lot of new things today, and we're not gonna take it to heart. We're just gonna make the changes we need to make to move forward.
Exactly. I mean, if I can start a full-time business from posting bunny photos, y'all, come on, you can do it too.
I love that. So there is a question or a place of contention in our because I'm a coach and I have a lot of coaching clients about what link should we have in the bio. So without getting too deep, because people, this is the controversy. Should it be a link in bio that connects it to like a link tree with lots of choices? Because we don't get a lot of buttons in Instagram, or
Mhm.
should it be one call to action? What are your thoughts?
For most people, the right choice is a link tree or something of that nature. I call it a link aggregator. I don't know if that's the official term for it, but for most people, it will be a link aggregator. But if you're sharing nothing else in your bio, you have to share a link to something free. Instagram, in and of itself, is not a self contained sales system. You want to get people off Instagram. Yeah, the Instagram coach is telling you to take people off of Instagram. We want to get their email address for this the simple reason that you don't own your Instagram account. I know I'm now talking about email marketing. What the heck? This is totally different. But it's related. You can get your Instagram account shut down for a number of reasons that are completely accidental. I can't tell you how many people have logged into their Instagram or Facebook because they're both meta companies, only to find that they've been deactivated. And they didn't do anything wrong. It was that some kind of automated intelligence picked up on something, misconstrued something that was posted or said, and you lost all those people. So we're using social media as a way to build our email list so that we're giving them a 1-2 punch of value over here, value over there, and that's where the magic happens. So to answer that question about the link in the bio, make sure that you're offering something free, if nothing else. But also make sure that you're not offering like 45 different things. Because if I'm going to your profile and I'm seeing that many choices, whew, I got things to do. I am not going to go through every single one of those and see which one applies to me. Narrow it down to the most important.
I love that. That makes perfect sense. Another note to self. What it was my link in bio going to? Because I don't know. Oh gosh, guys, this hurts. All right, so look, we've gotten through the top portion of our Instagram page. Let's go ahead and tackle the big elephant in the room, which is like, what are we actually posting? Because of course, a lot of people want to post flat images. Some people want to post selfies. Some people want to post reels, stories, all was it IGTV? There's always something new. The list goes on and on. So, what are your thoughts on like what should we really be posting out here in these Instagram streets?
You should be posting whatever you enjoy sharing the most, right? I'm not going to sit here and tell you that 40% needs to be reels or you need to post X number of videos per month or per week. Anyone who tells you that is wrong. I'm just going to put it out there. Sorry, not to throw shade, but you should be sharing the kind of content that feels authentic to you and your business. For me, that means mostly flat images and graphics. You won't see much, if any, video content on my profile because I don't enjoy creating that kind of stuff. Now, star this. We're talking about your Instagram feed. We're not talking about Instagram stories. That is a completely different way to engage with your audience. And we can talk about that in a little bit if that's an area that your audience really wants to talk about. But your feed is every single one of those little squares on your profile is like a billboard for your business. So if you want to pay some company to put it on a billboard on the side of the freeway so that you can admire it as you're driving down the freeway, don't put it on your Instagram profile. That's kind of a rule of thumb. If it's not billboard worthy, don't put it on your profile. Now, when we're talking about reels, and when I say reels, I mean video. As of the end of 2022, all video under 45 minutes was considered a reel. When you upload that to Instagram, it becomes Reels content. So Reels and video are largely synonymous at this point. If you enjoy creating video content, great. If your audience is responding to it, if you're getting great reach with that kind of content, fantastic. Continue to share that kind of content. But here's one caveat. Avoid a profile that is so Reels heavy that somebody has to watch all of your videos to know what you're about. Because when someone's coming to your profile for the first time, or when they're trying to remember why they followed you in the first place, they're scrolling your profile and they're asking one question: what's in it for me? So as they scroll your profile, they need to know what kind of stuff does Cori share? What kind of tips? How is Cori helping me before I pay her for anything? That's the biggest way we want to use our profile, is a way to share, a way to provide value, a way to provide maybe that first step. If you think of your client's journey, their transformation, whatever it is you help them with, as a staircase, what can you share for free on your Instagram profile or any social media that can take them that first step? And then your paid program is going to take them all the way to the top. Do you see how that works?
Yes, makes perfect sense to me. And I love how, first of all, we got a win over here. I actually put up my Instagram. I couldn't take it anywhere. I was like, what's going on over here? Yeah, I love the idea that you said flat images are still okay, because I think as trends happen, we trend to like get rid of all of our old stuff and our old way of thinking to say, okay, videos is king right now, so I'm only going to do videos. And we don't like doing videos all the time. And so now we're posting less frequently. We're not as consistent. And the content just may not be as good because we're not as great at it. But I was like, I love that you said, do what you love to post. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, you can add more, because I do find that I go to some profiles and it's so many videos. And then I'm like, what is this? And then I look at one, and if that doesn't meet my fancy, I'm gone. Because I'm like, I don't have time to be looking through 1,000 videos to see if I like the content. It's just, we don't have time for that.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. You have on average 7 seconds to capture somebody's attention. And the best way to do that is putting graphics together, putting text on photos, putting text on your reels, uploading a cover. Instagram, that's what Instagram calls it. You can tell Instagram how you want that reel to be displayed on your profile. And I highly recommend that you do that, so that you're not relying on somebody tapping on that post and watching that whole video, because they're not going to do that. They're not.
I love that you just give us the tea. Let us know the truth. So speaking of like words, can we talk a little bit about like our captions and hashtags? Like, what should we be thinking about? Because we have, of course, words that are on our graphics, words that we're saying in the reels, but what kind of things should we be contemplating when we think of captions and hashtags?
Keywords. Whether you write a long caption or you write a short caption, or really no caption at all, think about the keywords that you can use that tell the algorithm who that post is meant for. And for most folks, we're doing that in our hashtags. And most folks aren't using enough hashtags. You should be using 20 to 30 hashtags per post. And that goes against what a lot of people thought was gospel last year and into this year. But there was a study that was done of 17 or 18 million posts. It's a lot of posts. And they looked at number of hashtags and post performance, and they found that 20 to 30 really was the sweet spot. So make sure that you're using 20 to 30. Not all hashtags are created equal, but I'd need like 90 minutes to go into the nuts and bolts of that. So I'll just give you the 20 to 30, and we can talk more later about what that looks like, how you choose every one of your hashtags. But long captions are great. Short captions are great. Whatever is authentic to you, whatever you feel most comfortable writing, that gets that value across, that gets that call to action in there, that gets them wanting more from you, is golden.
I like that. And you know what, and I say this probably every podcast. Guys, we got 30 minutes to get these experts in and out. There's no way we can dive into every single aspect of their
Yes.
expertise. So I always encourage you. This is why we put the show notes as part of the broadcast so that you can connect with them. They know you're coming. I told them, hey, my people coming. They're gonna message you, they're gonna book your free calls, they're gonna get your freebies, and we'll talk more about freebies in a moment, but they are going to connect with you. So they're waiting on you. So don't sit here and one be discouraged like, dang, I feel like I need to ask some more questions, or I wish you would have talked about this. We are trying to cover as much of the expertise real estate as we can, but these are experts. Reach out to them, get on their calendars so that you can get your questions answered and be able to move from where you are now to where you want to be. Like I said, I'm sitting here with my Instagram like, okay, we got work to do. I probably need to book a call myself with Mishelle and say, okay, what can we do to make this better? Do that for yourselves, guys. Don't let this be the end of the journey with this expert or any experts that appear in the podcast. Reach out and get your questions answered. But kind of coming back to Instagram real quick, because I know I see the time, we're running out. Let's talk. I actually want to talk about highlights for a second. We're
Yeah.
gonna jump around a bit
Sure.
because highlights have not been my friend. I know exactly what I want my highlights to look like, by the way, but they don't look like that. So, what are some things, some best practices for really optimizing the highlight section of Instagram?
Highlights are one section that we really don't have to stress over. They're not making a huge impact on followability. Is that a word? I just made it a word. It's not making a huge impact on your followers. Most people who are going to take the time and go through your stories are already invested in what you're about. They're already following you. They're already, in your orbit. They're watching your Instagram stories as you post them and not usually feeling the need to go through highlights. They're not as heavily used as they were when they were first introduced. It kind of is, it's not as exciting as it was before. That said, if you want to use highlights, if you want to use that as an extension of your branding, which I think is a good idea, it gives you a chance to highlight your brand colors, some of your personality and all of that. Make sure that you've got whatever free content that you offer, make sure you've got that in there. You can use that to introduce who you are outside of your business. Because remember, we talked about your feed being billboards for your business. So stuff like about you personally usually doesn't belong there. All that personal stuff, you can put that in your Instagram stories and then save that forever with your highlights so folks can know a little bit more about you without you having to take that valuable real estate to talk about a trip you took or your sister's birthday or the fact that you decorate cakes on the side. That's really fun information, but it has nothing to do with your business. So we don't want to clutter your feed with stuff that's not relevant for your business.
I love that. So you talked about stories a little bit. Actually, you talked about it twice. I do want to tackle that because I would love to know your thoughts on some do's and don'ts of like what should be in our stories. Because we got billboards for the feed, things we want to kind of say from our stories for the highlights. What are we actually doing in these stories?
Stories is a completely different way to engage with your audience. And stories is where folks who are already interested in you, that's where they go to learn more about you. It can be and usually is less formal, less prettied up. It's a behind the scenes. It's you nitty gritty. It's you, without your makeup on first thing in the morning, talking about what you're going to be doing that day. It's not where you're posting content trying to get new followers. This is where existing followers go to learn more about you. I heard a statistic in the last couple of weeks that just blew my freaking mind. The most active brands in stories are only sharing 9 stories a month on average. 9 a month. And I had weeks where I would feel guilty if I wasn't showing up every day with some kind of video or, greeting to my followers or something like that. But seeing that really removed that pressure from me. And I'm an Instagram coach. So show up in stories on occasion. It doesn't have to be every single day. You definitely don't need to feel pressured to share every single aspect of your personal life. I'm still a very private person, but I'm showing up in stories occasionally to talk about what's going on. And use that fun, use that informal, use that though also to promote your services, to promote your free content, to engage with folks. Use the poll sticker, get people responding, and then have conversations with them that may or may not lead to booking a call with you or downloading your freebie or something like that. Use that as another way to engage with and connect with your audience.
I love that. That actually makes me kind of breathe a little bit better, like have that sigh of relief, because I know for me, that's one area that I've always wanted to do better in is in my stories. But it's like, I forget about them all the time. Just
Yeah.
being honest, even though we actually pre-schedule a lot of our content, I still forget to make stories. And I'm like, oh, I'm missing out. But I like that you kind of said it doesn't have to be all the time, because I'm a very all or nothing kind of girl. I post every single day. And if I posted every other day, I would post never. So I like the idea of like, it doesn't have to be all the time. And so I will personally, if you're watching this, you'll see it in the future because it'll be some weeks out. Check out my Instagram because it's gonna be better, y'all. It's gonna be
I
better.
love it. I love it. Before and after.
Yes. If you look at it today, pray for me. You look at it in about a couple of weeks, it'll be better. So we're almost to the end of the conversation, and I don't want to miss out on something I know people want to know more about, and that's the idea of selling on Instagram. Because again, most
Mhm.
of this audience are coaches and consultants,
Yeah.
and I know we can't get but so deep. We ain't gonna get a whole marketing strategy, but can you give us a few tips on how to actually make a sale on Instagram or lead to a sale on Instagram?
Only 10% of your content should be directly selling something, directly referring to something that costs money. 90% of your content should talk about, point to, or recommend something free so that they get that value from you. You start to build that relationship. So then you ask for the sale later on down the road. Most of the time, the most efficient way to do that is going to be through email. Here comes email again. Second time that we've talked about it. But when you're using Instagram as a lead capturing tool, getting them off of Instagram and then selling in your email, it's so much easier. It's so much more authentic than trying to hit people up in the DMs who have followed you, who have liked your content, who have whatever. Selling on Instagram is usually conceived as icky and unwanted. Folks don't want your DMs about buying something or enrolling in your program or whatever it is that you're using Instagram to direct traffic to. Folks are they're more apt to go for that kind of arrangement, that kind of sale, if you're having that one-on-one conversation with them. Maybe they've booked a call with you, or after you've served them in a way that makes them understand that you're someone who can be of even more value to them. If you're giving away something incredible for free, imagine what your paid program is all about. You really don't need to be afraid of giving too much away for free, because your paid program, you and I both know, is going to be gold. It has so much value in it. Just show up on Instagram sharing little tiny pieces and what can get them that first step. We talked about that first step. Use your social media for that, and your paid program can go the rest of the way. But don't show up on Instagram selling your product. That's the quickest way to ensure nobody joins, right? Share value and then sell authentically in your email, on one-on-one calls, or anytime after you've given them that initial value, that initial nurturing.
All right, awesome. So you've heard it here. We're not selling on Instagram, at least not hard sales,
Right.
which I think makes sense because you really want to cultivate trust. I always tell people know, like, and trust. You want to cultivate that,
Yep.
and you can do that through social media. And then when you get them off the platform or they reach out, I get people hitting me up in the DMs all the time. Then you can have more organic conversations and see what they need,
Yes.
and then offer that solution.
Absolutely.
So we are coming towards a close here. And my last question is usually something like, give us 3 tips on what we should do or 3 tips on things we shouldn't do. But our guest has given us a freebie, the do this, not that 10 free strategies to get noticed on Instagram, even if you do not have a huge audience. Amen. And so if you're interested in knowing what to do on Instagram, even if you don't have a huge following, that can lead you to where you're trying to be and show up as the best version of yourself, the best version of your business on Instagram, please check the show notes for that because we get that free, y'all. It's a gift, right? I need the sound effects going.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yeah.
I love a good freebie, y'all. Like, I actually have it put up on my screen because as soon as we end this podcast, I will be getting it myself, so that I will be able to learn what I should be doing to better show up on Instagram. But before we head out, I always like to give my guests an opportunity to give us any last thoughts. And then, of course, let us know where we can reach you to connect because we got some people listening that's like, I need to talk to her right now.
I am here. I am here for you. Instagram is the best platform for you to connect with the exact person that needs what you are offering. So let's get you in front of those people. What you offer is so special. You need to be serving more people with it. Come follow me on Instagram. I have something special linked in my bio that I'll look at your Instagram profile and I will give you a little mini audit, give you a 3-step system for how you can make some really quick changes on your profile that will make a difference and help you help more people. But you got to follow me on Instagram for it.
Okay, awesome. So again, all of her links will be in the show notes along with that link to the freebie. And guys, I just want to thank you, Mishelle, for being here on the podcast today. We got so much great
You're
information.
so welcome. This is so much fun. Thank you.
Yay. So, guys, if you enjoyed listening to this podcast, please remember to go back and listen to previous episodes. Also, remember, we drop a new episode each and every week where we bring on an expert, just like our guest here today, to talk to us about what's going on in their expertise and how we can utilize that to better our businesses. So, guys, with that being said, remember, I rock, you rock, we all rock, and I'll talk to you next time.